As you're all finishing breakfast and coffee, it's good to see so many people here on Thursday mornings. I think sometimes we get a little concerned that the sunny weather of San Diego is going to pull you away from our last day, but welcome to the last full day of the NACM 2021 Annual Conference. We're thrilled to be able to be back in person and have everyone here. It's going to be a great day. We've got some presentations this morning. We also have the results of our NACM board election. We have a great plenary speaker, and then we'll wrap up shortly before lunch. Just a reminder, voting is still open for the NACM 2021 Secretary-Treasurer position. You should have all received an email to the account that's registered for this conference shortly before noon yesterday to allow you the opportunity to vote. If you have not received that, please find a board member and we'll work rapidly to make sure you get that. But this would be for the people attending virtually as well as those in person. This would be your 5-minute warning. We will be closing the voting here shortly so that we can tabulate the results and let everyone know the results after our presentations. One of my favorite parts of our annual conference is the opportunity to recognize individuals or courts, organizations across the country that have worked to promote the administration of justice with innovative projects, with a lot of hard work and going above and beyond the call of duty. The first presentation I wanted to give this morning is our Early Career Professional Award. The Outstanding Early Career Professional Award is presented annually to recognize distinguished service and outstanding contributions to the profession of court administration and the judicial system by an early career professional. NACM's definition of an early career professional is someone who has worked in the courts for fewer than 10 years or is under the age of 40. According to this nomination, this year's recipients' achievements are vast and reflect dedication to the ideas embodied in NACM, and its purpose demonstrates exemplary professional proficiency, service to the profession, and service to their community. This person is described as being an invaluable part of their local superior court in Arizona. I'm sort of disguising who this is until the end. When they graduated college, even while they were working on their master's degree, they also completed their ICM Fellows program. When the court has a need, this person jumps in, learns a new area of the court, and makes it the best that they've ever seen. Moreover, this person supports the entire profession of court administration in many ways. They're an active member of the NACM Governance Committee, as well as our new DEI committee. She's contributed to the state of the profession, and as her role as Director of Jury Services, she's provided practical assistance and guidance to jury officials across the country. And although she's moved to a new assignment, courts across the state often turn to her for guidance, and the Chief Justice of the Arizona Supreme Court appointed her to a statewide task force to improve jury service in the state of Arizona. She has served as a mentor to many people in the court and continues to serve as an example of a woman to lead the first criminal department in over 20 years. She exemplifies dedication to the profession and the greatness that can be achieved during one's early career profession. Her court feels lucky to have her. Her state feels lucky to have her, and NACM feels very lucky to have her. It's my pleasure to present the NACM 2021 Outstanding Early Career Professional Award to Nicole Zoe Garcia of the Marion County Superior Court. Congratulations, Nicole. A couple of more awards this morning. We're moving on to the NACM Enhancing Justice Award. This award was established to publicly recognize courts and related organizations for commendable projects and accomplishments that enhance the administration of justice. So a common goal in all courts across this country is to provide fair, efficient, and effective justice for all litigants. One of the challenges in doing that is ensuring that all litigants involved in proceedings are able to understand what's happening, and that can be incredibly challenging when English is not your first language. The state of Maryland was certainly not immune to those problems. On an average basis, The Maryland Court Interpreter Programs provides over 15,000 hearings for over 65 languages across 60 locations across the state. For the longest time, the process for securing an interpreter for these courts would involve PDF files, emails, phone calls, updates to CMSs, PDF files, emails, phone calls, which is probably all too familiar to a lot of courts still. Other issues that they would deal with would be last-minute cancellations, which were costly to the court, inconsistency in court notices being sent, and hand-produced invoices that were often prone to human errors. This resulted in an incredible amount of staff time calling interpreters one at a time to inquire about their availability. So to address this problem, the state of Maryland created a working group, identified their goals, and addressed whether they need more subject matter experts. They also identified the scope of resources needed to accomplish these goals. They ultimately discovered an off-the-shelf solution that best fit their needs, and that product was scheduleinterpreters.com. And although the product was largely turnkey, it required extensive customization and statewide training so that everyone could use it effectively. The first pilot was launched in the fall of 2019, and by July 2020, it was completely transitioned into the sole interpreter management software. Since the launch of the new system, the state of Maryland has seen many of the previous challenges turn into benefits and positive impacts in their courts. Staff are pleased at the use and the ease of scheduling interpreters. Communication has become automated and streamlined. The system has reduced no-shows and cancellations. There's been a dramatic increase in financial accuracy in invoices. It's also enhanced their ability to monitor the credentials for interpreters in the system. When I was going through the nomination form and reading their description, there was one line that stood out to me. And they said that there will always be short-term challenges required in exchange for long-term gains. And I think that certainly rings true with all the work we've done going through the pandemic. So for the work by the Maryland Office of the Courts, the statewide integrated interpreter management software program, we present the NACM 2021 Enhancing Justice Award. And I don't think anyone from Maryland is here, so I'm going to accept on their behalf. Lastly, we have the Enhancing Justice Honorable Mention. We had a lot of submissions this year for our awards, so it feels really good to be able to recognize a couple of jurisdictions for the Enhancing Justice Award. So many courts across this country offer a variety of payment methods: cash, checks, credit cards, debit cards, online payments, checks via the mail. But what about those courts that have customers who are unbanked? Those are the types of people that prefer to pay cash or can only pay cash, and sometimes they don't even live near the courthouse. In 2017, the FDIC reported that about 6.5% of the public is unbanked and only use cash for their financial transactions. So when the Arizona AOC team started planning for this project in 2019, their focus was making cash payments easier for everyone that was going through a court process. However, when the implementation happened in March of 2020, their limitations on on-site court services were worsened due to the pandemic. Although the payment program had been developed for months, having options to conduct business outside of courthouses became a large priority as individuals did not want to come to the courthouse. For those customers who wanted to make a cash payment, they were looking for an alternative not requiring entering a courthouse. So the team found a product called Pay Near Me. It's a network that provides safe, timely, and user-friendly options, especially during the pandemic. Before rolling out to the nearly 180 courts across the state of Arizona, the team solicited 4 courts as pilots to participate in a pilot phase of the program. The pilot was designed to test the technical integration between the companies involved and to make sure that the online portal was working correctly. They also developed training materials, and they got critical feedback from courts that were using the system. The Pay Near Me program provides court customers a secure and convenient method to pay court financial obligations with cash without having to go to a courthouse. The payments can be made as many retailers like 7-Eleven and Family Dollar and many other stores that are participating in the program. They can make payments at night, during the day, weekends, and holidays. As of this writing, there was over 27,000 participating locations nationwide. So for the work by the Arizona Administrative Office of the Courts on the Offsite Cash Payment Project, we present the NACM 2021 Enhancing Justice Honorable Mention Award. And with that, I will turn the mic over to President TJ Bement to convene our business meeting.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Pay no attention to the box. It's props in case I need to stall. So just be forewarned. I hereby reconvene the general business meeting of the 2021 National Association for Court Management Conference. At this time, it would be proper to take a motion to officially close the polls. So moved. We have a motion by Carl Tanis to close the polls. A second by Greg Lambard. Is there any further discussion? Is there any objection to closing the polls? The polls are officially closed, and the National Center staff for Association Services will complete the tallying of the votes. Now's where I get to stall. So, hey everybody, how you doing? I hope everybody had a great conference. There you go. All right. A quick shout out to some of our folks that may be viewing virtually right now. Just want to say hello to everybody. Hey, I'm glad you could join us for the last couple of days. It's a new endeavor that we have started to, we've always live streamed with the support from the State Justice Institute, but now we've had registered attendees so that they can get credit and whatnot and join the Core Champion program and whatever else that may be going on over the course of the time. That also means that they are officially part of the conference along with us. So much like ICM went to virtual and hybrid scenarios, and so have your courts, so too has NACM with this conference. So we're very excited to have those folks join us. So as I stall here, I'm going to read a couple of things essentially into the minutes for the purposes of our minute taking of how this voting process occurred. It's a little bit unique to us. After a lot of double checking and rechecking of Robert's rules, which I've gotten intimately familiar with over the last couple of days, as well as a review of our bylaws, just a recap of what has happened. So we had a nomination from the nominating committee for a slate of candidates. Then we received a nomination from the floor for one of those positions, that being our secretary-treasurer. That motion was properly seconded, and that individual was added to the slate of candidates and was an equal candidate to the other individual that was brought forth by the nominating committee. We then opened up the voting, and as our bylaws state, voting is available to all of our members in attendance. And let me make sure we understand what that means. That's members in attendance, so that members that are here in person or are virtually in person, and they must be a member. We verified and double-checked our bylaws to confirm what member means. So that is a member, a regular member, a retired member, or an honorary member. That also means that that member must be in good standing. And per our bylaws, that means that individual must be current in their dues. So it is possible when we receive the votes that some individuals may have voted, but their dues may not have been current at the time, in which case those votes will not be counted. They will be reported out to you. The individuals that applies to is our regular members and our retired members. There are also honorary members. Those are, generally speaking, your past presidents that by virtue of having achieved that status, which God willing I will be in just a few minutes, that they are deemed an honorary member and do not have to pay dues for the rest of their life because the association bestows that gift upon them for their many, many years of service. This is again where I stall, so hang tight for a moment. Much like Gallagher, I brought props. If we were in Vegas, this would be that much more appropriate. So hopefully you can see these. We are joined today by some great individuals. These are facsimile representations of our two candidates today. So we have Tina Madison and we have Charleston. I'm going to have a conversation with them. No, just kidding. This is as bad as it gets because I've got to stall and buy time here, people, so work with me. All right, my jokes are funny. It's like, when your judge is in the room, every joke they say is funny because they're the one up at the front. That's me right now, so no. Each year, the outgoing president gets an opportunity to present some gifts to the board. I was ably assisted by one of our board members, Kelly, who does these for fun, and worked with me to create some gnomes that are somewhat of a representation of all of our board members. So I had a few extra. I brought them up here on stage, again, just to buy some time. So they're wonderful. Maybe we should market these. Anybody willing to buy them? We can auction some off if folks are really, we'll give the proceeds to the San Diego Urban League. No, just kidding. I'm taking them home because they're going to go behind my desk in my office so that when I'm on my Zoom calls, people can see the little gnomes and their Nakem hats behind me. But anyway, we'll get these off camera so that we don't distract anybody from what's going on here and the important work. So we do have this contested spot, but I'm going to go ahead and move on with the agenda and recognize our outgoing members. So get this here. You weren't supposed to see that yet. Okay. So we have 3 members of the board who are rolling off as of this year. Mr. Charleston Carter, currently of Washington, D.C., Michelle Donovan of Arizona, Tina Madison, also of Arizona, and our current immediate past president, Will Simmons. It's always been a pleasure to thank the outgoing members for their service. As a board member, it usually wraps up their 3rd year of service, so it is quite a time commitment. And most certainly for the immediate past president, you're generally thanking them for somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years or more potentially of board service, and then multiple years of service going up through the ranks of the officer positions. So all the folks that we have before us have given great service to you all, our members, and to us as an organization. Charleston has been our chair of the communications committee over the last year. Michelle Donovan was the previous chair of membership, and Tina is our current chair of membership. So all of them have brought dedication, tireless service, and a great amount of effort to their work and service to you, our members, over the last couple of years. So I just wanted to say a thank you. If the 3 of you, or actually 4 of you, could take a quick stand and be recognized by our members, that would be wonderful. Tina, Charleston, Will, Michelle, if you're here. So normally as well, when there's the whole passing of the gavel piece, we are able, as the incoming president, to then pass the gavel to the outgoing president. Wait, no, the outgoing president passes to the new one, and then the new president recognizes the outgoing. Well, for those of you who may recall, last year, July, we were still in the midst of the pandemic and really weren't quite sure exactly how long that was going to last. We did not have an annual conference at the normal time. We ultimately pushed that and had a virtual multi-week conference over the course of last fall, but we did do a business meeting. I'm sure the stalwart members among you were part of that process. The vast majority of you perhaps weren't, and I do not blame you for that. We were still figuring out our way as well. But when that incoming president is up there, they pass that gavel and they're able to say a few remarks about the outgoing president. While I did a few of those last year, I don't think we had the opportunity to do justice to the individual that was departing us. So Dr. Will Simmons, who is passed on at that time to be immediate past president, a friend of mine, a colleague from Georgia, and who ably served you all, our members in our organization. I was not able to properly give him his dues. So I want to take a moment now and thank him for his service and all that he did. So Will, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you on behalf of our membership for the service. So typically, the board also bestows a gift on the outgoing president, and then the association does as well. So you all missed that, but we didn't, or rather, I didn't. I was able to take a trip, unbeknownst to Will, down to one of his circuits that I knew he was going to be at. It was a ruse. He did not know. His chief judge of that circuit was in on it. So for those of you who were in Vegas and saw the judge that presented him, he worked and conspired with me to say that Will needed to be in his courtroom to deal with some issues. And as good court administrators, when our judges call, we come running. So Will is there. You can see that he was not wearing a mask, even though this was July of last year. We were masked, but you'll see all the things on the benches there, the don't sit here, etc. It was masked. He was way over there. I was way over on the other pew, so we were properly celebrated. That was a brief moment last year where we were next to each other, but I love Will enough to take that risk. So his chief was able to call him and have him come into the courtroom. We were able to pass the plaque on to him to thank him for his service and allow our then president of our Georgia Council of Court Administrators, that's our state association, to be present. So she was in on the ruse as well, to be present. Will kind of knew something was up when he saw a lot of faces start showing up in the courtroom, because court was going on just before this, and then the judge cleared the courtroom. And Chief Justice, when the judge clears the courtroom, everybody gets the heck out of there because that's what happens. And then in come the rest of his judges from that bench. So we see here myself and our Georgia State Association president with a quick picture, and then a couple of Will's judges here in the background. And that was his entire bench there of that particular circuit. Now, Will also serves multiple other circuits, but this is where we called him in that day. So they wanted to take a moment to honor him and share some great words of thanks, and also a thanks, I think, quietly to me, Will, that I was taking over and giving you back to them so that you could return to your day job a little bit. So they were happy about that. We also had an opportunity to pass on the board gift to Will. Many people don't know Will, in some of his personal background, but he does like to ride a little bit. He likes to get on his Harley and take a spin out into the great outdoors and enjoy some fresh air. So we recognize Will, and he also is a big fan of Eagles. So we were able to marry two of his passions, Eagles and Harley, and get him a nice little riding jacket so that as he coasts into past president world, he can enjoy the fresh outdoors safely on his motorcycle. We also had a picture of his bike, but we figured you all didn't need to see that because we didn't want to make you upset or jealous that Will has a passion that maybe you don't have. So again, we thank Will for his service, and really unfortunate that over this last year he did not get to celebrate that with his colleagues and with you, our members. So again, I apologize for that, but thank you for your service, Will. I yet to see the person running up here, so I'm going to continue to just keep making words come out of my mouth. What I am going to do is go back to the business meeting agenda for just a moment. So while we have one contested spot in our officer slate, the rest of the slate was closed on Monday, and per Robert's rules, that slate is adopted by acclamation. Mr. Simmons will come up here in just a moment, and once we're completed with the voting and the results, and present the new board to you. But I want to let you know the rest of the board, the officers and the board members, are hereby voted in by acclamation. So we'll give a quick round of applause for them, and then we'll bring them all up here in just a moment. So, anybody got some recommendations on restaurants? I hope people got a little bit of downtime, enjoyed the pool, enjoyed all that San Diego had to offer, and most importantly, and for me as well, an opportunity to reconnect with colleagues. That's been missing from my life professionally. I mean, I have my folks back home, but professionally, for me in my field, and certainly as a member of the board and as an officer, it's connecting with you all, our members, and the colleagues that I've grown to know and love and call friends over the last many years, is what makes this organization work, but I think what also makes our profession work, because we are a profession of people. And it's you all, our members, that make that happen. So it sort of sounds like I'm doing my outgoing remarks right now, so we may just take that as such. And I told our association staff that if they need more time, they're going to get it, and I will literally have to dance for you if need be. So I might have to ask somebody to put on some music at some point. But let me take another moment just for stalling purposes. I know on Monday, when Rick Pierce was up here giving the treasurer's report, we gave you somewhat of a bleak financial outcome, that we were looking to be in the red, potentially as much as around $100,000. We have done yeoman's effort to keep our budget in check over the last year, moving to a virtual conference last summer, to that bifurcated 10 or 12-week process, and then a mid-year expanded multi-week offering as well, to avoid the issues of pandemic and not being able to meet. But that came at a cost. We had no registration fees last fall for our annual conference. The folks at SJI allowed us to do some maneuvering with our grant to help cover the costs of putting that on for you all, so it didn't cost us anything, but we did not have the benefit of registration fees and sponsorships and exhibitors that are so much needed for the bottom line for us as an organization. While we did have some small registration fees for the mid-year event that we did, again, we didn't have a lot of those higher registration fees for an in-person conference and the exhibitors and sponsorships. We've continued to do efforts of sponsored webinars and such, and I appreciate those of you who've tuned into those because, again, it helps us keep the organization running. We got goals, yeah. That was staged, people, so it's a distraction, so just listen to the goals for a moment. But we gave everybody an opportunity to submit any questions or catch any one of us on the board. As best I know, we did not receive any inquiries, so I want to let you know that we will continue to be mindful of our finances, and whoever the incoming Secretary Treasurer is, that is their primary responsibility, is to mind the books. And we rated, to be honest, and we presented it last year, we rated our investment count to the tune of just over $100,000. So I'll just let that thing sink in. I don't think any of you all want to raid your IRAs for $100,000 just to make the bills of today get paid. So it was a very, very tough choice for us to make. We also canceled all of our travel, including the President's travel, and travel to our partner meetings, and scaled back on a lot of other expenses as well. But we were very lucky in the sound investments that my predecessors did on the board, several of whom are in the back room. Wave at us, please. Paul, in your table, a good number of our past presidents back there. Many years ago, when the association was having some boom years in terms of membership and whatnot, they made some sound investment choices. Separate FYI, we have an occasional financial committee that reviews that, and we do sustainable investing in U.S.-based companies that support the mission of NACM and support justice and things like that. So we do have an eye that we keep in our investments. And thankfully, the growth of that investment account over the years made us feel comfortable to reduce our investments and still have enough left over, more than what we were seeded with back in the day. So we hope a pandemic such as this or some other crisis is only once in a generation or every 10 years or thereabout, as it seems to be, so that our investments continue to regrow and be available there for future generations of NACM members should the need arise. So I'm getting low on things to say. Almost done. Is that the text? Okay. I have my phone up here, but I'm not getting the text. So when you see somebody running through with a piece of paper on fire and folded, that will be coming up to me. Jeffrey is sort of waving his attention to me. He has got a bag in his hands. That is one of the NACM swag bags. So I encourage you all to look at nakemnet.org/swag. That will link you on that page to a storefront on Amazon, where you can purchase a variety of the t-shirts that many of us were wearing on Tuesday, our swag day. There's also some sweatshirts and hoodies and bags and cell phone covers and whatnot. Those funds, thank God. That was getting awkward. Did somebody say you want more of me? What? Oh, just kidding. Oh. I'm not opening this yet because I'm going to take a moment to let you all know. Over the last couple days, I've just done a check-in with the staff there. I have not gotten the results by any means, but just suffice it to say they have indicated that the voting has been very close. and at times over the last few days has flipped back and forth. So to both Charleston and Tina, I want to say thank you for standing up and wanting to take the next step in leadership of this organization and giving your best to our members. So that, whichever way this election goes down, is to be applauded. And I would hope... And I would further hope that both of you will continue to play an active role in the organization, and whoever does not move on to this position will continue to stay active. Those of us who have been around for a while, myself included, have seen those of us that were on the board roll off the board, but come back into a leadership position, either as another term on the board, or sometimes an officer position opens up for a variety of reasons, and a former board member who has had experience and wants to take that next step has been able to come back. So whoever that is, I encourage you to stay active, and sometimes opportunities are just a matter of timing. But for you all, our members, this means that we had individuals that cared about the organization and cared about the future of the leadership of this organization. So if you voted for either of them or none at all, which is certainly fine, I hope that you also remain active and don't take whatever direction your candidate did or didn't get as a sign that you should or should not remain in the organization. I tell you as a whole, you all, our members, are the lifeblood of this organization. So please stay active and please stay involved. So, for purposes of voting, tally votes were sent out to 250 registered members in attendance. So the vote comes down to those who then indeed vote. 168 votes came in. We had, for purposes of the minutes, we had one illegal vote per Robert's rules. This was a vote that for some reason or another made it to an individual who, once it came in, was determined to not be a member at that time. They were a non-member. As I mentioned earlier, you had to be a member and also current and good standing, dues having been paid. So we had 4 individuals that were not current with their dues, and then 3 individuals who withdrew their votes and decided to abstain. So that left a total of 168, less those individuals. So per this, the number of votes for Charleston Carter is 77, and the number of votes for Tina Madison is 83. So we will. So you can see that per our bylaws and Robert's rules, we were double checking to make sure every vote was properly cast and properly accounted for to be appropriate. We within the leadership here, myself included, had no idea which direction the votes were going in, but staff brought some of those peculiarities to our attention. Our minds got together, reviewed our bylaws and our Robert's rules to make sure that we handled as best as possible. All that will be properly reflected in the minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Tina Madison as our next Secretary-Treasurer, and Mr. Simmons, if you would come up and present the full board, please.
Good morning, Nakem. TJ got me again. He got me again. I appreciate those words, and I appreciate you all allowing me to serve. It's been an honor, and I've been on and off the board since 2009, and so I'm looking forward to joining the back table of past presidents myself. It is now my pleasure to introduce the slate of officers. For President, Kathy Griffin, would you please come forward? President-elect Jeffrey Sunakawa. Vice President Rick Pierce. And Secretary-Treasurer Tina Madison. And for our 3 new board directors, Roger Rand, Cheryl Stone, and Brandon Kimura, who is watching us live, and he will sign his oath, and we will put him in our group photo at the end. Congratulations to your new board members and their positions. That concludes.
Bear with me. Let me just check my notes here. Things were a little bit out of order. Okay. Now that we have handled all of our elections and you have welcomed all of our new board and officers, we will now be joined by Chief Justice Bridget McCormick, the Chief Justice of the state of Michigan. I refer you to the app for her bio. Suffice it to say, I have seen a lot of her over the last year on the rapid response team and all the CCJ meetings. She has been a champion of everything that has happened over the last year and all the strides that our courts have made throughout the country to remain open and supporting the litigants that come before us. So Chief Justice is here to swear in the new board, so I would like to welcome the new board up to the area right here in front.
While they're making their way up, I will say again that it's been an honor to be here. You guys just come on up, gather around. I don't know where they're supposed to be, but you tell me. You're in charge, yeah. It's really been an honor to be here. As I said yesterday, for those of you who were here, you all are the reason why courts learned so much and came through the pandemic in the way that we did. And I'm incredibly proud to be included in this meeting for the last couple of days. And incredibly proud that one of Michigan's own very talented court administrators, Kathy Griffin, is becoming your president. I know that there are lots of talented Michigan court managers, but because Kathy's about to be your president, I'm going to say a couple of words about her. I've talked to her judges who are right now watching this on live stream. Hi, Judge Stutzman. And they credit Kathy with every reform in their court that has benefited the public. We know that's true of all court managers, but it's nice to hear the judges say it out loud. Kathy's a marathoner, which some of you probably know. I understand she probably is forcing you on runs at these conferences. That's rude, but... And I think marathoning is actually in some ways, or historically has been, a great metaphor for change in courts and in how we do business. We've been slow, methodical, careful, and all of those for good reasons. You know, lawyers and court administrators and people serving justice have cultural, normative, and even legal reasons for being slow to change. And that all changed in March 2020, when all of a sudden we had to figure out how to be fast to change. And it turns out, in addition to being a marathoner, Kathy is also a sprinter. And the people of her county and the people of our state benefited as a result. She was one of the leaders in our state at figuring out how to quickly do things differently and make sure the people of her county continued to access justice. We are so proud of Kathy Griffin in Michigan, and really grateful that she will be leading this organization and bringing her talents to the whole country. So it is my honor to swear in this excellent board. And I'm going to start with I state your name. Don't say state your name, say your actual name when I do that. And then I'm going to break it up. Please raise your right hands. I state your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will support and uphold the principles of the National Association for Court Management, and that I will perform the duties of my office faithfully, impartially, and justly to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations and thank you.
So, I'm back again. It's about the last time you will see me. I think I have pretty much said all that can be said, and just want to thank you all for putting up with me for the many years that I've put on the board, both the first time and the second time, and then my last few years as an officer. It's been a privilege to lead you all, and it has been a privilege to have Will come before me, a friend and colleague, and to have Kathy, who I've known and come to love and cherish over the last many years. She's kind of one of my partners in crime as well. Running buddy this morning, we were able to catch each other on the trail and chat along. We did, yes, we did chat, Chief, while we were running. She could have run around circles around me, but that's okay. She put up with me and went a little bit slower. So it is my distinct honor to welcome Kathy to the stage, to pass the gavel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our 2021 to 2022 President of NACM, Kathy Griffin of Michigan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
No, you can't leave yet, TJ. You don't get out that quick. I feel like I need a stand-up act before I start talking about anything, but I didn't prepare a comedy. So. Get it out of the box.
We have a lot of props back here. I was prepared.
On behalf of NACM, nobody deserves this award more than TJ does, but we want to present him with the gift from NACM. I don't have any pictures of what we gave him as the board at our board meeting on Saturday, but I have a feeling he might be using some of it later. Thank you. TJ deserves a standing ovation. Like I stated, I didn't prepare a comedy act, but a couple things before I say what I did prepare. First of all, there was some pictures when I presented a surprise award to Kevin Bowling last year during the pandemic, and I think those pictures show we were both in a mask. And like I stated, we had the other award earlier this week, but we didn't take photos of that. And I do like Chief Justice McCormick's comment at first that marathoners are slow. It kind of took the pressure off my running for a minute, but then she called me a sprinter. Now I feel like I got to pick the pace back up again. So anyway, thank you, TJ, for the kind words. This is such an honor to me to lead this great organization. I am truly humbled. Thank you, Chief Justice McCormick, for coming here to the conference. You have done such tremendous things in Michigan, and I truly admire your foresight and your leadership in the way you've changed the court system. We're all familiar with the work you've done on the rapid response team, and a lot of people say, I wish I had your chief judge, and I say, yeah, our chief judge rocks. You do, you rock. I also want to thank everyone back in my home court, all the judges, the staff, administration, especially Anita and Dina, who's picking up the slack for me when I'm gone and encouraging me. But most definitely, Judge Stutzman, who I work directly with. He took the bench in 2005 and immediately encouraged me to get involved in committees and associations. Thanks to his encouragement, I completed the Michigan State Judicial Administration Certification and the Court Management Program through ICM, and that was my pathway into NACM. However, my biggest thank you goes to my husband, Dave, who couldn't be here, but he is always the one that encourages me the most, and he's my sounding board all the time. He's had to stay home to watch our dogs because, you know, our dogs are priority number one So, as I reflect on this past year, I want to again thank TJ for his leadership. For most individuals, it would have been a struggle, but he led the organization and kept us vibrant and moving forward. As he would say, we were novel. He challenged us as a board to follow his leadership. Many of TJ's priorities I want to continue moving ahead. One in particular, DEI. A DEI group was formed by our past president, see, I can say past president now, Will. Our past president, Will Simmons. And as stated earlier this week, the NACM board has voted to make that a standing committee, and he will lead that initiative along with a current board member. So we will continue that pathway forward. But when one mentions DEI, the first thing most people think of is race, but it's so much more extensive than that. You have to think about all the letters of the acronym: diversity, equity, and inclusion. So inclusion is something I want to touch on right now. I remember my first NACM conference. I was overwhelmed at the magnitude of the event, the education material, and the knowledge of all the members. However, at the same time, I was welcomed with open arms by everyone. I came from a very small court, and to hear all the innovations and the experiences of other courts really opened my eyes. My biggest takeaway was that we can make a difference in society, no matter what size court you work at. That warm welcome I received from everyone, including past presidents and board members, will never be forgotten. Our pathway, our profession is one that we can change people's lives for both good and bad, but I truly believe we are a profession that cares and wants to help. From that first conference and every conference since, there's always that one session you attend that not only tugs at your heart, but it inspires you to make a difference. As we move forward as an organization, I challenge all of us to continue to be that driving force in restoring trust and confidence in the court system. Be inclusive to all individuals. Together we can achieve hard things. There are so many NACM individuals that I want to acknowledge for their guidance and encouragement, and I know the list is too long to mention everyone, so if I forget somebody, I'm sorry. But I want to highlight a few that have meant a lot to me. First, past President Kevin Bowling, also from Michigan, who every year at our Michigan Association meetings would preach about the great things of NACM. When I was president of the Michigan Circuit Court Administration, Kevin convinced me to attend a NACM conference and get involved in the organization. He warned me it would be hard, but the benefits would outweigh the hard work. It was his encouragement that led me into serving on the NACM board. I want to thank all the presidents that I've served over the years while being on the board with, starting with Michelle Oken, Stephanie Hess, Scott Griffith, Vicki Carlson, Paul DeLoche, Will Simmons, and TJ Bement. That group of individuals showed me the NACM way of tremendous leadership. But I especially want to thank Vicki in particular, as she is the one that truly inspired me and convinced me to continue the officer path. Her leadership was genuine and filled with wisdom, grace, and inclusiveness. I also want to thank a previous board member, Alice Roberts. I had the pleasure of serving on the board for 3 years with Alice. She was such an asset to NACM and still assists in many ways. Both Vicki and Alice's friendship mean the world to me. Through this great association, I've developed friendships that will last forever, and that is the inclusion I was addressing. No matter your gender, race, origin, or court, you will be welcome in NACM with open arms. I encourage all of you to become more involved, join a committee, and challenge yourself to make a difference. Trust me, you will not regret it. As I look to the year ahead for NACM, I want to continue the commitment to DEI, enhance the collaboration with partner organizations, and bring NACM back post-pandemic. I want to inspire all of us to continue to do great work in our profession and bring public trust and confidence back to the judiciary. Just as courts have learned to adjust during the pandemic, so must NACM, and we as an organization need to adjust and grow from it. As TJ's motto to the board was, "Be novel," my motto to our board now is, "Together we can achieve hard things." Thank you, everyone. I guess we're on a recess right now, and we will reconvene with our last plenary for the day at 10 a.m.